our weekly podcast. My name is Chloe Lamas and today's topic is Life Below Water. In this lovely evening, our guests are Hector Robles, Mariana de la Fuente, Michelle Hernandez, and Pamela Lopez. First things first, why life below water? To begin with, the lives of 3,000 million people depend on the marine biodiversity and fishing activities, as well as the importance of the ocean itself. 30% of carbon dioxide created by human activities is broken down in the oceans. Up to 40% of the oceans are affected by contamination, depleted fisheries, loss of coastal habitats, and other human activities. Problems affecting marine life are still increasing. Plastic pollution, petroleum, spillages, and extraction of this material are endangering the ecosystems and quality of the bodies of water. Our guests will talk in a deeper manner about this issue and their investigation. Our first guest, Hector, will explain a little bit more about the problem, the ocean's pollution, and what does the UN does to solve this problem.
Okay, yes, Chloe. Goal number 14 of the Sustainable Goals of the United Nations is regarding the marine ecosystems and improving the quality of life of the world oceans. Plastic pollution is one of the main concerns of many people. Plastic is a really harmful product for the ecosystem and it is really bad for the environment. Plastic pollution occurs when enough plastic has gathered in an area that affects the natural environment and harms plants, animals, or humans. Plastic has toxic pollutants that damage the environment and cause land, water, and air pollution. It can take hundreds or even thousands of years for plastic to break down, so the damage of the environment is really long. Overuse of plastic is the main cause of plastic pollution. Plastic is cheap and widely available, but people frequently dispose of plastic items. They don't decompose and they release an incredible amount of toxins into the air if they are burned. Regular, everyday trash is one of the biggest contributors to plastic pollution. Milk cartons with plastic linings, disposable water bottles, soaps with small plastic beads, and other products end up in the environment or in dumps where they can affect the groundwater and nearby wildlife. Not only does plastic cause damage to the ocean, but it can also damage groundwater sources. Many regions are already facing issues with, but water sources everywhere are in danger because of plastic pollution. Plastic toxins in dumps and from litter can seep into the groundwater which people drink every day. Plastic can hurt tiny organisms like plankton, which larger animals rely on for food. If small organisms are poisoned from ingesting plastic, the animals that eat them will also consume toxins. The toxins work their way up to the food chain and can even be present in the fish people eat. In addition to harming plants, animals, and people, it costs millions of dollars every year for cleanup of areas exposed to plastic and people. Many regions have seen a decrease in tourism because of the amount of pollution in their environment, which can have a serious impact on local economies. Commercial fishing nets are another big issue. Although fishing is necessary for the economy and for food supply in many regions, nets are often made of plastic. When the nets are submerged into the water, they leak toxins. They can also break or get lost, adding even more pollutants to the water. So plastic is really harmful, and in order to accomplish the SDG objective, which is to preserve marine life, plastic needs to be stopped from reaching the oceans.
Thank you very much, Hector, for your time. Now we're going to talk about the interviews our other guests did to some expertise. So, Mariana, we know you interviewed some people that were related to the topic and were involved in helping and solving this issue. What can you tell us from your findings?
Well, we interviewed Dr. Mariana Reina in charge of the organization Oceana, here in Mexico. We made her some questions about the greatest impacts that pollution brought to both our country and the world, and as you said, the importance of action upon them. We started by talking about the source of contamination. Dr. Reina explained to us that the most dangerous contaminants were non-treated waters, agrochemicals, sewage, oil spillages, and many others that occur in land and reach the oceans and rivers. Even though plastics have a lot of popularity right now and do come from a very large part of the problem, it is important that we know about the other factors that threaten our oceans.
Oh, interesting. What else did she explain about this situation?
Well, she also explained the effects that it will bring to Mexico and all the activities it would affect. People that depend on coastal activities, tourism, and fishery will be affected by the lost species and also by the loss of food resources. The economic capital, tourism, and economic level is affected.
Thank you so much, Mariana. Now we're going to talk to Michelle. Michelle, who did you interview?
I interviewed Professor Jose Luis Arreola, a marine biologist and also director of the science department at Prepatec Santa Anita. I thought that his profession could help us a lot in our investigation.
And what can you tell us about it?
Something he said that's really important is about the water contaminants. The major contaminants of the water are created by humans. There's an excess of carbon that affects the ecosystems and species in it. One example of them is the acidification that's whitening the corals, which indicates that they are not healthy and they are dying. The species affected and the loss of marine life affects also the inhabitants of a certain place. The food chain and order is destabilized. He told us that he has been involved in different studies of marine population, and that's how he knows so much about the endanger of many water species. Also, he has participated in different campaigns that help to clean the ocean floor, awareness talks, and the conservation of the shark. The professor thinks that the best way to help marine life is to educate, create awareness, and create consciousness about this problem. Being aware of the situations can help us to work and act upon them. He gives an example of meat consumption that creates a lot of methane and releases big amounts of carbon on a daily basis. The major problem nowadays, based on what the professor said, is the water pollution because of loss of food resources and life. Well, that was what I thought was the most important about the interview with the professor. Thanks.
Thanks, Michelle. Now we're going to talk to Pamela. Pamela, who did you interview?
I interviewed teacher in environmental planning and administration and director of the science department in Prepatec, Guadalajara, Almadelia Samarripa. She is a professional in this area, and according to her, the greatest contaminants of the sea is the plastic, black waters, and the industrial waste that comes from fabrics and of the ocean.
And how does this issue affect Mexico and its population?
She explained that as species start to disappear, the trophic chain is altered, and that brings repercussions on the temperature of the ecosystem. Anyway, the major consequences of this problem is the death of marine life because it affects the water bodies and has a negative influence on the biosphere.
Is she an active participant against this issue?
Yes, actually, since 1986, she has made different projects and programs to preserve the marine turtles. Also, programs and campaigns to promote the conscientization of marine life to decrease and stop their exploitation.
According to her, is there any possible contribution that we could provide?
In her opinion, the best we can do to minimize the problem related to this topic is to be responsible consumers. We need to be more aware about the waste we produce.
Thank you so much, Pamela. And well, we have arrived to the end of today's podcast. As we heard in the past few minutes, the life below water is a really important problem that we need to find a solution right now. We need also to actively participate in the solution of this problem so we can have a better world and our health and everything involving the disappearance of life below water can be prevented. Thank you so much and see you next week.